Well, thousands of years ago, the Toltec, known throughout southern Mexico, they were known as women and men of spiritual knowledge. They were neither a nation, they were not a race, but with the conquest of Mexico came by Europeans, coupled with a lot of their rampant misuse of power by a few of the apprentices of the Toltecs. The knowledge for the last couple thousand years was kept in secret from those not prepared to use it wisely or use it for personal gain. But this spiritual knowledge of the Toltec was passed from generation to generation by different lineages of the Nahuals. And even though it was kept secret for hundreds of years, ancient prophecies had predicted the coming of an age when it would be necessary to return that wisdom to the world, to the people of the world. It's only in the last half century that scientists and artists have formed a society to explore and conserve the spiritual knowledge and practices of these ancient ones. They came together as masters of Nahuals and students at an ancient city of pyramids outside Mexico City, known as the place where man becomes God. Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements, is a Nahual from the Eagle Knight lineage, and he was guided to share the teachings of the Toltec and to pass it on. Toltec knowledge arises from the same essential unity of truth as all the sacred esoteric traditions that we find all around the world. It's not a religion, but it honors all the spiritual masters who have taught on earth. And although it does embrace spirit, it's most accurately described as a way of life, distinguished by the ready accessibility of happiness and love that is already within each and every one of us. So Don Miguel Ruiz opened the door, the Toltec door, to all of us. And before I share with you the special prayer of the Circle of Fire, I'd like you to watch a 9-minute video clip just to help grasp the insight of Don Miguel Ruiz, his words of Toltec knowledge, coupled with the music of Aaron Copland's Quiet City, played by the Nashville Chamber of Orchestra and called A Night in the Desert. Wasn't that beautiful? Wasn't it meaningful? In another book that Don Miguel wrote called Prayers, a Communion with Our Creator, he reveals the circle of fire ceremony and the prayer that is its foundation. I found the prayer very moving, very meaningful. So much in line with unity and unity principles that I decided to share it with you today. And I have copies that I'd like a couple people to help me, if you would, to pass out to everyone here today. And it's more than a prayer. It's really a matrimony with God, our Creator. It's a different way of seeing our relationship with God. In fact, it fits right into Unity's perception of God as principle and love energy. And what's important is that we accept the agreement in our half of that relationship. That we do our part. That we live our lives following this agreement. Jesus taught consistently about the kingdom of heaven. And that if we followed his teachings, we would know the kingdom of heaven here on earth and in our lifetime. The circle of fire prayer is saying the same thing. If we follow this agreement, we can create heaven on earth. But it's not enough to just say the prayer. We have to live the prayer. Like our brother would tell us, it's being. And when we live the prayer, we align our intent with our word, putting faith in the word, feeling the reaction in our emotional body. And when our emotional body perceives this meaning of our word, it reacts to our word. And the reaction is love coming out of us, putting a trust in God, recovering our own divinity. And if we do that, our life will change. So it's once again about the sacredness of life, being the love energy, being who we really are. It's a healing prayer. It detaches us from those things that keep us in that drama of our life and in suffering. Those blockages that tend to prevent a free flow of the power of God comes and moves through us as us. So let's still take a look, if we could, at the prayer, and I'm going to break it down into little pieces and try to get the meaning behind the phrases. So let's take the start of it. It says to state today's date. Now, why would we do that? Today, April 30th, 2017. Because that's solely there to remind us to be present in the eternal now. Right now. This moment. No past, no future. Because time is an illusion. Life is an eternal present moment. Today's the day of creation, and this moment is a moment of creation. And by saying the date, I announce that today is the day I make a new agreement. Doesn't matter what happened a week ago, an hour ago. What matters is my intent this moment. The day of the Lord. Every day is the day of the Lord. Because it's all God. It's all there is. Saying I recognize that God is everywhere and everything. God is I am. And on this day, I'm making a commitment to God. And it is an act of power. And when the divinity returns to me. In other words, this is a moment right now that I acknowledge who I really am. That I am the one creating this moment. This is the day I see the light. The I am, one with my Creator. Whoever I thought I was is gone. I am a manifestation of God. I have a power within me to create my life with the power of God. And so I claim the right to be alive, to express myself to the world. When living my free will, because I am in the kingdom of heaven, I am free then to make a choice. I make the choice to live in communion with God because that's what's in my heart. Not because my religion says I have to, not because I'm afraid, not because my ego or social image is causing that, because it's my choice. My choice. My decision, because I want to do it. And when I make a choice from the divinity of who I am, I will not choose fear, envy, anger, drama, or anything that goes against me. And when I'm living from my free will, the only possible choice is God, His love, His happiness. And so I choose to live the rest of my life from my divinity. And with all the power of my spirit. And what I mean here is that I support my decision with all the power of my will and my faith. This is a moment of my wedding with God, the moment of fire initiation, because my spirit is that fire. Is God in me? I have recovered my free will. I have the power to make a choice, to make this agreement to live with God. And so now I call on that power of my spirit to keep that agreement. It's my intent to live it with all the power that I have within me. I decide to live my life in free communion with God. In other words, I have decided to live in love with God, with my divine self. I'm crossing the line of no return and making the commitment to God. I am in a committed relationship. All my faith is there. All my authority is there. With no expectation. In other words, I let go and I let God. I surrender to the outcome. Because I really don't know how anything will work out anyway. Yet I know that God is absolute good. So I detach from the outcome because the outcome is not important when I'm committed to love. When I live my life in free communion with God, I open my heart and love unconditionally. I love for no reason and no expectations. My love is unconditional because it's a pleasure to love. I will live my life with gratitude, love, loyalty, and justice. And so what I'm telling myself here is that I'm going to write the story of my life. I've decided how I will live. And I won't accept anything less than that because I am free, I am happy, and I am love. And from now on, I live my life with gratitude, for it is one of the most beautiful expressions of love, being thankful. It opens the doors to an abundance of life's blessings from all directions, especially an abundance of love. I will live my life with love. I will love myself unconditionally. I will accept myself completely. I will respect and honor my physical body. I will no longer criticize or dislike what I am because I am God's creation. My love is endless. The more I am being loved, the more others are being loved around me. I will live my life with loyalty. To whom? To myself. I will never do anything that goes against myself. I will never betray myself again. There is no place for self-abuse. I am loyal to myself. And that makes me impeccable with my word. I will live my life with justice, which means I will be fair to myself. If I make a mistake, I pay for that mistake, but only once. Not every time I remember the mistake. I will no longer judge myself. I will no longer live my life with guilt and shame, and when I live without judgment, guilt, and shame, there is no need to punish myself. Beginning with myself. In other words, everything I've agreed to must begin with me. And it begins with me because I cannot give what I don't have. If I have love for myself, then I can radiate love outwardly to all around me. Love outwardly, live in free communion with God. Because by living in free communion, I am being divinity that is within me. The agreement always begins with myself. And because that is what I am, this is what I share then with others. And continuing with my brothers and sisters. I now spread the seeds of gratitude, love, loyalty, and justice to others. I live my life expressing love, and this is how I treat others everywhere I go. The love I have for myself becomes the love I share with others. The seeds of love grow stronger, and they keep expanding until they become a beautiful relationship with my parents, my children, with my spouse, my siblings, with everyone in my life. This statement gives me immunity to suffering because it ensures that every relationship is an act of love. I will respect all creation as a symbol of my love communion with the one who created me. This means I will respect the forests, the ocean, the atmosphere, the animals, everything that God has created. I am expanding my love and respect to the entire world of creations as a symbol of my love and respect for the one who created me. I make this agreement with God because now I recognize that everything in existence is God's creation. I respect God's will. I respect life as it is. I perceive God's creation. I respect creation. I participate in creation. And I surrender with total acceptance because I know that I could not make it any better. I don't need to change other people. I don't need to change any of God's creations. I simply enjoy the creation. I enjoy beauty. I enjoy life. I'm alive. And just to be alive gives me enjoyment. And so what is the result of all this? To the eternal happiness of humanity. This means that all humanity receives the benefits of my love communion with God. Since every human is a part of one living being, the result of my happiness is the change for all humanity to live in happiness. Chance for that to happen. So I've decided to live my life in happiness. I'm sharing my happiness with others. And the result is a wonderful gift to everyone around me. I'm not responsible for the happiness of others. I'm only responsible for my own. I'm happy because I have a love communion with God. And if I can do that, everyone can do it. And the result of that reunion with God is the eternal happiness of humanity, which is another way to say heaven on earth. Kingdom of heaven is in my own mind. And for me, that kingdom is real. It is here. I am part of that kingdom. I have a private kingdom of heaven in my mind. And by sharing with my brothers and sisters, together we create the kingdom of heaven on earth to the eternal happiness of humanity. And that's the meaning. That's the meaning behind this prayer. Isn't it powerful? Powerful. Let's say that together. Let's say this prayer together this morning, right now. Let's say today's date. Sunday, April 30th, 2017. The day of the Lord, when the divinity returns to me, when living my free will and with all the power of my spirit, I decide to live my life in free communion with God with no expectations. I will live my life with gratitude, love, loyalty, and justice, beginning with myself and continuing with my brothers and sisters. I will respect all creation as a symbol of my love communion with the one who created me to the eternal happiness of humanity. And so it is. Amen. God bless you. God bless you. Report St. Lucie.